Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Universem is proud to present this live panel event where you'll have first-hand marketing insights from Belgian top players. Welcome everyone to Retail Marketing Tomorrow, how digital is changing the game. We are live from the Living Tomorrow studio in Vilvoorde with our panel members. Today we'll discuss some of the most important retail and digital marketing trends more in depth. How can we bridge offline and online? With which omnichannel strategies do work? What are focus points for personalization and automation? And what about privacy and data collection and advertising today? This panel is organized by Universem. They offer global digital marketing strategies and consulting, online advertising, SEO, and digital analytics. Make sure to contact them if you have any question regarding your strategy. Thank you for joining us, and don't hesitate to ask your question to our panel members, as we will also have a Q&A session after the panel. Please meet our panel in this corona-proof studio. We'll start with Lise Eeckman. Thank you, Lise, for joining us.
You're welcome.
She started her career in the FMCG sector, fulfilling various positions in a marketing career spanning over 20 years. And in 2019, she made the shift to the automotive, bringing her experience in creativity, innovation, digital transformation, and customer centricity to a sector in need of all of them. In the first instance as marketing director for the BMW Group Belux, and now as managing director of Polestar Belgium. Lise, your customers' management is different from most car manufacturers. You have a direct-to-consumer management. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, it's a very good topic, of course, to discuss in the current topic. We do not work through dealers. So actually all our sales is 100% through the digital way. And of course we have some, physical touch points, which we will address a little bit later on. But the biggest advantage is that we are indeed in a direct-to-consumer business, meaning we know all our customers, and we really make sure that thanks to the technology, we also have the tools to be in a direct contact with them, both from the shopper journey already onwards, but also very importantly in the owner journey.
Yeah.
And we are always in a direct contact with them, learning a lot from them, listening a lot to what they have to say about our brand, and making us better every day.
Thank you very much. Lise Eeckman, Managing Director from Polestar Belgium. We also have Yannick de Bièvre, Marketing Director, Benelux, Mediamarkt, Saturn. After his PR and communication studies, he traveled the world as a climber and skier before starting to work in different marketing and e-commerce functions, and recently became the Marketing Director of Benelux, Mediamarkt, Saturn. He's now responsible for the brand and campaign marketing, digital experience, and trade marketing. Yannick, we are pleased to have you joining the discussion today.
Thank you.
What do you consider to be the biggest actual digital marketing challenge for Mediamarkt, but also for your sector as well?
Well, as Mediamarkt, we're an electronics retailer throughout all of Europe, and we're an omnichannel retailer, meaning that we have physical stores, but also an online environment, a web shop where you can buy products. And I would say that the biggest challenge is to have like a full 360 view on our customers, because some people only buy online, other ones buy in store, or combine both of those. And as a retailer, it's extremely important that you understand your customers as good as possible to service them. And the biggest challenge, I would say, is to have this view, because this is fairly strongly linked to technology. Because somebody who buys online, you need to be able to identify them, but also in the store, and to make sure that you know who is doing what at what time and point in time. So I would say that's one of our biggest challenges that we're currently tackling.
Thank you very much. Yannick de Bièvre, Marketing Director, Benelux, Mediamarkt, Saturn. We'll also have Hubert de Cartier, Partner and Project Manager from Universem. He co-founded Universem in 2010 and is now responsible for a team of 6 team leaders supporting over 70 active customers. He develops the strategic initiatives to improve the expertise and services of Universem year after year. With his helicopter view on digital marketing, Hubert supports customers like Etex, Delvaux, Mediamarkt or Biobank. Hubert, thank you and your team for organizing such an inspiring event. How important is e-commerce and e-business?
I wanted to highlight one recent study of eMarketer in China. They found out that 52% of the sales were done online. So it's the first country in the world where you have the majority of the sales are done online. In Belgium, we are around 10%, so clearly we see the shift coming ahead of us. And I have a question for the panel, and I think it will be really interesting to go over this later, is should we in the future start from the web shop strategy or from your shop? And that's a mindset that we have maybe to tackle, like we have had in the past, should be mobile or desktop first. And I think it's a good strategic trend to take into account.
And we'll discuss this question definitely during this panel. Thierry Geerts graduated as Solvay business engineer at the VUB in '89. After his studies, he started working as auditor, but quite soon his passion for media, online marketing and innovation led him to management and board positions. He is now country manager of Google Belgium Luxembourg since 2011 and as such, he is positioned in the heart, of course, of the digital revolution marketing and innovative entrepreneurship. He's also member of Digital Minds for Belgium, AI for Belgium, Le Conseil du Digital, and also he's member of the AI Europe. You're also an author, Thierry Geerts, of the first book, Digitalis, How to Reinvent Our World. And recently, Thierry Geerts launched his next book, Homo Digitalis. He's the country director of Google. We are delighted to have him today, not only to join the panel, but also to give a powerful and insightful keynote presentation. Thierry Geerts, country director from Google. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. If you want to talk about marketing, you shouldn't talk about digital marketing or traditional marketing. Let's talk about marketing. Let's talk about the world in which we live in and what is the consumer that you want to target. And the consumer is not a Homo sapiens anymore. The consumer today is a new species, Homo Digitalis. First of all, we don't live in Belgium, Flanders, Wallonia or Brussels. We all live in Digitalis. Digitalis is a new country with 4 billion inhabitants, all connected to each other thanks to the internet. That is completely changing the world, but the internet has been invented 25 years ago, and so what's new about it? What really did change the game is this little device that you have in your pocket. As it was told that I finished university in 1989, on that moment I had to carry around all those things that you see on your left-hand side. And everything that I had to carry around, that it even didn't possess because they were very expensive, are now just in your pocket. And that is changing the game. Because we don't go online anymore to be at a laptop, we have this device with us all the time. And so if we go to a physical shop, we can compare prices and products inside the shop, or we can be looking for products in the street and then enter a shop. And this is really a game changer. But the next wave of digital revolution has already started, and that's ambient computing. So we went from desktop computing to mobile computing. Now we will go to ambient computing, which is the fact that every device around you will be connected to the internet. Finally, we can get rid of this little device that you have to take out of your pocket all the time, because all the objects around you will be connected with the internet and will do what they need to do. For example, if you enter a normal car, you will probably enter the address in your smartphone and then try to put this next to your steering wheel, and then you will be guided to your destination. But in the meantime, you will receive social media messages and you will be disturbed all the time. If you enter a Polestar, you just say, go to my next meeting, And since the car is connected, they will know what the next meeting is. They will open ways to have a great experience, and then you're there without having to be in traffic. That's the way that objects should work. You have to speak to your fridge to say, hey, fridge, what's the recipe to cook this evening? And the fridge can answer. It's not only your smartphone. And that's thanks to AI and machine learning. Those technologies are making it possible to interact with computers without these devices, without a keyboard, just so that they do what they need to do. In the meantime, we have 2 billion connected devices, including the Polestar, and that's why I'm so happy that Liz is here today. Now, those changes, like the internet, mobile internet, and ambient computing, machine learning, etc., are changing our society profoundly. We are today in the 4th industrial revolution. And we forget what the impact is of an industrial revolution. We probably all know that we are in the 4th industrial revolution, but that's it. We have to understand that because of a revolution, we have to reinvent everything. Everything that we have done so far was based off technologies of the past, and we have to reinvent all our models to the future. As Hubert told you, we are only at the beginning of this journey. For example, only 10% of the retail is online. Well, that will continue to grow because we will reinvent our retail models. It will become more easy to do, and it will fade out that it's digital or not digital, but 100% of the retail will be impacted by those technologies. And in 2020, we had a huge acceleration of this transformation. In 5 months' time, we got like 5 years of digital transformation that was done in a very short period of time. In my first book in 2018, I tried to explain what the advantages were from home working, for example, and all people thought I was nuts. And then on the 30th of March last year, we all did it. Same thing with e-commerce. The Belgians were a bit reluctant to go online for shopping, and on the 13th of March, they had to go online to do their shopping. The pity was that a lot of companies were not ready for that. Although the technologies were there for years, they were not ready, and that's why the e-commerce went ×3 during the first lockdown, and the Belgian e-commerce only went plus 20%. So we missed out a lot of the business that we could have taken. Big time to reinvent retail. We are going to reinvent all of society, from democracies to finance to money, whatever you imagine, but retail is what we do today, and marketing, obviously. So let's zoom in to those 2 topics. First of all, retail. And therefore, I want to present you my grocery lady in Antwerp when I was living, I imagine when I was 8 years old. That was the grocery shop when we went for shopping. It was very nice, you know, she knew me very well. Hey, Thierry, how are you? She knew my family, friends, and also our shopping habits. So if I would ask the lady, I want to have some shampoo, she would answer, no problem, here's the shampoo, and she knew what kind of shampoo the family Geerts was purchasing all the time. So fantastic personal service, but the prices were very high, and the offer was very small. You could only purchase what was available in the shop, that's it. So we decided as society to industrialize retail. And the industrial version of my grocery lady is a supermarket. So you're there on the Saturday in your supermarket, the offer is fantastic, the prices are low, but the service has disappeared. I tried to go to the shampoo department and ask to somebody, what kind of shampoo should I purchase? You're the crazy customer of the week. You're not supposed to do that. In an industrial society, you just pick the goods and you are supposed to know what you need to purchase. The service has disappeared, but the prices are low and the offer high. So now is the moment to digitize this industrial version of the shop. And in the digital world, we have the best of both worlds. We have the best prices you can imagine because you can compare prices all the time, also in a shop. You have an amazing offer because you can purchase products from all over the world. You can get products from China and products from Peru, and they can be delivered at your home. And the service is more personalized than ever. You shouldn't call it personalized maybe because there is not the person that addresses you, but if you open an Amazon page, if everybody here opens an Amazon page today, we will all get another page from Amazon. I will get a page from Amazon with shampoo because I purchased shampoo, and you maybe have a page from books, for example, if you're purchasing books. The amazing thing about Amazon, if you're purchasing some books at Amazon, it will be the best platform ever to advise you of the next book that you should read, because they will get all the signals online and the experience of other readers online to give you the best advice of a book, better than your own local bookshops. I'm not a big fan of the Amazon website, but I'm a big fan to copy the idea that you can personalize and get a personal service to everyone. And from retail, I think this is super important to understand your consumer, to get a personal service, and to get advice. There are some learnings of this grocery lady. The digital business today, it's not digital marketing, the digital business today should offer a personalized, seamless, and fast answer. On the personalized, I told you that. On seamless, it has to be in 2 clicks. I experienced a lot of e-shops last year where you had to go to 10 screens, enter twice your payment details. That's terrible. A lot of mobile shops are still not suitable for a good online mobile payment, for example. And the last one is fast. If you order shoes at Zalando, you will be delivered tomorrow. If you order the same shoes at a Belgian web shops, in a lot of times you will have to wait for a week. You can wait for a week for shoes, but you wouldn't wait for your shoes, because if you can get them at the same price tomorrow, then you go for that. So remember those 3 rules, but there are some boundaries. Obviously, we are living in 2021, so your business has to be sustainable. And to do digital business, you have to think about security and privacy first. If you are hacked, or if you don't respect your user, you will be out of business soon. That's the way you do business, but the business at itself should be an assistant to your customer. Instead of just servicing goods to someone, someone is entering your shop, you don't even know who it is, he takes some shampoo and he walks away, that will not be sustainable. It's the way to be a service to your consumer. For example, in the banking world, you know that our Belgian banks have beautiful mobile apps, and now KBC offered Kate, and Kate is a personal assistant to help you in your banking operations, and will go to ambient computing. So Kate will be available on mobile, and then later on your fridge and in your car. But you can say, yeah, that's a bank, I'm not a retailer. So in the retail industry, how can you be an assistant to your customer? And then we see applications like the Colruyt Eco Score. The people want to be more healthy, so they go for the Nutri-Score, and they want to be more sustainable, so they want to know how ecological the products are, and they're happy to pay a higher price if they know what they purchase. But that's a way to help them out. Another way to help them out is to understand their allergies and to connect the allergies products with the consumer or with the products that you purchase. But it's the same if you are a brand. Imagine you sell margarine. That's not really interesting to sell margarine. Yeah, well, you can be an assistant to your customer, because margarines are used to do bakery. So if you have recipes on bakeries, you can be an assistant to your customer. And if you are an online retailer of electronic goods, then you can help them, for example, in choosing a laptop. It's super complicated for consumer to select a laptop, and then you can have machine learning and experience for retailers online to make a better choice of your laptop computer. But therefore, you have to reinvent also your marketing. And marketing in a digital world is not possible anymore. We are in a physical or hybrid world where we live online and offline without knowing what we are really in. It's the same world and the same consumer. And therefore, your marketing should be adapted to this reality, measuring every data from online to offline and from offline to online, which is make it possible to things that were impossible in the past. For example, if you have 3,000 products in your company. In the past, you could only put 30 products on the shelves. Today, you can do the 30 products on the shelf, but you can also offer online your 3,000 products. And then we used to have marketing campaigns only for a few of those products. But if you have online online always-on campaigns, you can have campaigns for all your products all the time. Look at shaving devices. Last year, all the people started to cut their hair themselves, and there was a massive ask for shaving equipment, but not all companies were ready to have marketing campaigns on the shaving experience. So all the shaving products were sold for a happy few companies. We were ready for all their products with an always-on campaign. Once you have this omni-channel always-on campaign, you can start with the real magic. And the real magic is putting machine learning to help you to be a marketer, because you cannot manage 3,000 campaigns day in, day out, 24/7. So that's why the computer is helping with programmatic marketing, and programmatic marketing can be enabled, empowered by machine learning to get to the holy grail, which is profit-based marketing. You adapt your campaigns based not on the revenue, but on the profit of your products, so that every single marketing euro will be translated into more profit for your company. Two additional things that you can think of in the new world of retail. First of all, is that in the past we used to say we have shops and that's a fixed cost, and then we can decide to do marketing or not. Today we have to consider our shops as just being marketing. A shop is just a device to increase your marketing. It's a way to do marketing. It's not a sales office anymore. You have to look at your company as being a sales house for consumer, and then think about putting a shop or not, and having your cost as being variable. Open and close shops as you do with marketing costs. The second thing to think about is that we used to go to the shop for three different things. First of all, get inspiration. What could I purchase? Secondly, to compare different prices or different products. And lastly, to get the products. In the omnichannel world, those three functions of a shops have been completely separated. You can go for inspiration to a Polestar shop, let's say, then go online to compare the prices and some other competitors, and then finally be in this serviced at home. Your car can be delivered at home. You don't have to go to the garage for that anymore. And so imagine that all shops have to be reinvented to decide which kind of functions they want to fulfill to help your customer out. To close down, you have to think digital first. In Belgium, we are in a small country and we think small. We think like this fish in old school terms and only with the consumer that we have in Belgium. We have 4 billion consumers at one click of our companies. And with digital world, we can make our business grow and make it more profitable to help out our customers as an assistant to our clients. If you are interested by my talk, you can read more in the 2 books as mentioned in the introduction. I thank you very much for your attention, and I'm looking forward to the panel debate.
Thank you very much for this keynote presentation, Country Director from Google, Thierry Geerts. Welcome to this live event, Retail Marketing Tomorrow, How Digital is Changing the Game. Welcome to this panel. We'll discuss different trends today. And as you have noticed, probably we have 3 speakers in this panel, and we also have Hubert from Universem, who will introduce these different panels, the different trends we'll discuss today in the panel. Hubert, can you tell us a little bit more about the different trends we'll discuss today?
Yes, with pleasure. So let's start directly with the 3 trends that we will go for. Definitely, how can we be an omnichannel retailer? Why is personalization and automation so important today? And Thierry mentioned it clearly in his keynote. And finally, about privacy, because it's really so important for our consumers now, and how can we use their data consciously to advertise effectively for companies. If we think about it, all of this is about consumers. How can we send the right messages to the right audiences according to the DNA, the brand values that you as a retailer have? And so if we can do that, we know that we can have effective marketing and succeed in the future for your promotion and to get sales online or offline. Let's go directly to the first trend. And the first one is really omnichannel. And if we think about it, we shouldn't have online and offline opposite. They are really interconnected. And a few figures from Google, where we see that nearly 2/3 of the sales are now digitally influenced, that those shoppers are converting even more in store because they are informed ahead of the visit in the shops. And finally, those consumers are spending more in your shops. So when we see this, we should clearly avoid the silos that we have had in the past and go for really this omnichannel strategy. And a last element that I could add is that consumers favor really retailers that are both present online and offline for the trust, for the easy return, and so on. So that's really important to see that as an asset also to be closer to your consumers. If we go to the next, if we think about it, your consumers, they just want to have a good experience both online and offline, and they will choose to buy online or to buy offline, depending on the products, depending on their needs, on their mindset today, and they will go online for a large assortment, for easy comparison of price, for reading reviews, but they can go also offline for the service, for the customer experience, or for the advices that they can't find easily online. And so as a retailer, you need to have this customer experience as smooth and as easy as possible so that your consumer can go from one to another, because €1 online or offline is €1 of sales as a retailer. And finally, as a retailer, as mentioned by Yannick earlier, what is important is really to understand the link between online and offline. And if we look at the example of Mediamarkt with the Mediamarkt Club, they are using the Belgian ID card to do the link between online and offline so that they can understand and really advertise more personally this. And those are the elements I wanted to share with you so that we can introduce this first topic.
Thank you very much, Hubert, for this introduction to this first trend we'll discuss today, omnichannel strategies in retail, bridging online and offline. My first question is for you, Yannick. What is fundamental for building the right strategy?
Yeah, that's a very good question. Is there a right strategy? I would counterpose, first of all. I think as a retailer, it's really important to understand that, speaking from a Mediamarkt perspective, for example, we don't have own products. So we buy products, and we showcase them to the customers, and they buy them. So we're kind of a middleman in this process between the manufacturer and the customer in the end. And for us, it's really important, as we have a very wide assortment of consumer electronics. We look at it in different verticals, we call it. So why? Because the customer journey of somebody who buys a television is, for example, completely different than somebody who needs a new washing machine or a phone. And basically what we do in our business model is really cut all these verticals and really create different strategies on them. A television, for example, a store is a very important touch point, because often you want to see the image quality, or you want to see how far do I need to stand from the device. So often for campaigns linked to television, we put more emphasis on the store aspect, because there's a lot of choice. People can help you. What are all these different technologies, etc., etc. But then they can easily buy it online or even in the store. If there is a certain model is not there on tablets, they can buy it and it can be delivered, but also placed at home. And that's a completely different customer journey than, for example, a washing machine, where we see in the Benelux, especially in the Netherlands, for example, that almost 75% of these devices are almost purchased online, because basically a washing machine is a white box. You put clothes in it, they come out and they're clean. So there's much less, you look at the price, you look at the size, maybe the weight, does it fit in wherever it has to go? So these are elements. If you go to a store, it's maybe less important, but people want a wide variety. They want to have a good comparison online. But then they might go to the store to make sure that there are specific shipment arrangements that can be placed or extra services around. So all these customer journeys of these different verticals, as we call them, are completely different. And a good omnichannel strategy is the one that takes all of these things in mind as we see it. And then not only all these, but then you also need to be sure that you understand all of this online and offline. Who are these customers? Why are they doing this? Why are they doing that? And that's, as a marketeer, that's one of the biggest challenges in retail marketing today. to make sure that you can give a personalized experience, knowing that there are so many different routes and that they are all different for everyone.
Yeah. In your keynote presentation, Thierry, you said, think digital first. What do you mean exactly with that?
It's that the world is going more and more digital, and that tipping point that we are today, that you can measure online everything, and then you can have the influence of something offline. But if you are only offline, you cannot measure what's happening online. I will give you an example. If you want to advertise and you take a page in a magazine, you pay 1,000 euro for a page in a magazine, then you get the statistical audience of this page in a magazine, but you don't receive anything back. So you have the audience probably, but you don't receive anything back.
The opportunity, yeah.
But if you do the same money online, you have the same audience, maybe more or less if you purchase at a good price, but you receive data back. For example, if you have a promotion video, you can even measure who was watching the video, and when they cut off. So if you have a 1 minute video, sometimes people are stopping after 10 seconds. Mm-hmm. That's something that you don't know on television. You don't know where the people will stop looking at your advertisement, but online you will measure exactly when they stop. You can see from which region the people are watching the video more or less. So it's just one example for marketing. But as you have to do in all your business, you can measure everything in the digital world and then do some elements in the physical worlds that are encouraging it, increasing it, influencing it, but then you can measure what's happening even online.
Okay. Yeah. Lise, is it important to have multiple touch points?
I think indeed we are really evolving towards an omni-channel, and even as a consumer, I do not know where I saw first the advertisement or where did I buy in the end this skirt or jacket or whatever. So it's really completely fading out, and I think it's always more from if you're in the businesses tend to think always still in those silos. We at Polestar, I think we are a digital first company, but always human. And we want really to put the consumer in the middle of this table. And our catchphrase is wherever, whenever, however. So actually we want to offer the consumers the choice of where do they want to get their information? Where do they want to find their inspiration? Where do they want to have their experience? And where do they want to buy their car? You know, and we are a 100% digital brand, but that does not mean that we do not have physical interaction. And therefore, you need multiple touch points. Thierry already referred to our Polestar spaces. So those are really small stores where you cannot buy the car. Of course, we can help you, you know, if we have somebody who's not really feeling comfortable yet to configure his car, we will help you, of course, but the main objective of those spaces is to inform people, to educate people, to inspire people to switch to a more sustainable mobility, because switching from a petrol car or a diesel car to an EV car really gives a lot of questions. How to, you know, the how-to movies on Google, how to charge it, how to finance it, how to, if I buy it online, can I still have then my garage if there is something wrong with the car in the end? So we are building actually quite an open ecosystem, and I think that's really the unique aspect and also really typical for the fourth revolution or industrialization, is that it's all about working together. You don't need to do everything by yourself. So we strongly believe in open ecosystems with partners. The challenge is to make sure that you also have then good KPIs in place, that they are like-minded and that they follow up and live your values of your brand and make sure that there aren't any gaps in terms of customer experience that start to install themselves. So multi-touch points we can't do it on our own. And a car is, of course, way more complex than a pair of shoes at Zalando. Mm-hmm. But again, here it's working together, strong partnerships, and using also the technology as an enabler. We have OTA, so over-the-air updates. So it's literally, you always drive with the latest software on your car. It's literally software on wheels. And you do the software update overnight, so you don't need to go to the garage. But if you do not feel comfortable to do it, and you have a like koud watervrees, then okay, you can go to a Polestar service center and they will be more than happy to help you and assist you. So it's really wherever, whenever, however the customer wants it, and it's the role of the brand and the role of the company to facilitate and to offer that choice. And I think that's really where the power is. It's really supporting our consumers and helping them to make the switch to a more sustainable electromobility.
So it's really about combining the best of both worlds.
Absolutely.
Actually. Yeah,
I think you said something very important. It's not about technology. It's about connecting humans. So you think digital first, but you don't think about
always
technology.
Human.
It's humans are driving the cars, and in your company you have humans. So I think this digital revolution is more than ever about humans, about the people that are working in the company.
And the quality of the people, and the quality of the partners.
And understand the consumer behind that. And you use technology to do so, but it's not about the technology.
It's an enabler. It's not an objective in itself. And that's really where I do often feel, also when sitting with agencies or with my media buyers, digital is not an objective as such. Technology is not an objective as such. It's an enabler to get us where we want to go to. And that's really important, I think.
When we talk about humans first, actually think about, yes, you say digital first, but actually to put the human being also on top of that, I think it's important now to have this connection to this second trend, Hubert, because we talk about personalization.
Perfect. So if we think about personalization automation, it will do the perfect leveling indeed. It's an enabler to achieve this. And when we think, there are two perspectives. First, as a customer, you want to have personalization, to have customized products. The example of Amazon was really good to say we need to have the next product that I will buy, that I should buy because it will fit my needs. It's also, I want to have, I'm willing to give away part of my privacy to be able to have exclusive offers, to have also to receive gifts for my loyalty towards a brand, towards my retailer. That's really important on one side. But as a retailer, you really need to go for personalization for several reasons. Among others, we have first the differentiation. You don't want to compete only on price. You want to compete also on service, on link with your customers, to engage your customers. A second one is about really meeting the customer expectations. When we think about the GAFA, Google, Amazon, and the others, they have raised the bar in terms of customer expectations. The people want to have easy, fast solutions to their problems. And so as a retailer, you need to go for that so that you have a really smooth experience for your customers. And lastly, I would say that you can have both an increase in revenues, but also an optimization of your marketing cost by going for personalization. A recent study from McKinsey for the grocery sector, they show that you could have an uplift in revenues of up to 2%. I'm sure if we go for the fashion or for the electronic sector, it could be much higher. And you could decrease your marketing cost by 20%. And that's really important to think about this, about personalization as an enabler for better performances for you as a retailer. And out of this personalization, you need also automation, technology. It's really, as mentioned by Lise, an enabler to make it happen. And for example, we have this study from the Boston Consulting Group, who is really looking at the campaign's performances, and they found out that, okay, technology can increase to have better performances over time, but that the combination of human creativity, human analysis, and the technology will lead to better performances up to 15% up on top of that. So it's a combination of automation that should not be, and technology should not be intrusive, but at the service of the customer experience, at the service of your sales, of your brand awareness, and so on and so on. So all of this is really to get you to the next level and meet the customer needs. So That's really an introduction, and I'm sure that we can continue with inspiration from other members in the panel.
Absolutely. Thierry, in your keynote presentation, you talked about going to get shampoo in the store. Of course, the strategies, the marketing strategies keep on evolving. Can you give us a little bit of more insight in those strategies and the evolving of the marketing strategies?
Yeah, about the need of personalization, I think I was clear in my keynote, and also you only can get there with programmatic marketing. But let's get a step back and to look at marketing over time. So in the 90s, we had the broadcast marketing. The only way to do marketing was to broadcast on television, door-to-door advertising, out of home. So it was broadcasting. So now we evolved to precision marketing. We can now precisely target even a person, not knowing his name, we can target a cookie that is clearly looking for a new car to present cars, or a new shaver with shavers. Because of privacy, we will have to evolve, but also this opportunity, and the opportunity is to go to predictive marketing. So from broadcast to precision to predictive. The predictive is not personalized in the way that I target you with your name, but I target you because you are interested in kind of products, and I use the programmatic marketing to adapt my marketing, once again, profit-based and endorsed by machine learning. Machine learning is very stupid and very performant altogether. It is only the combination of man and machine that makes the magic, because you understand your customer and then you test it with machine learning, and the machine sometimes finds crazy patterns on customer journeys, for example, surprising things. But machine will never do something with it from its own. You have to act upon those measurements. You have to put in place the strategies. But once again, once you have them in place, then they work day in, day out. Even if you're asleep, you can continue selling, what was not the case in the past.
Yes. Lise, what does it mean for you, for Polestar, because you already have a very personalized strategy?
I think we tried indeed to use this as our mantra, let's say. I think it's on 3 levels. We have personalization within the car, and then I come to it. It's beyond the configuration of your car. We have the personalization in the services, where people can just choose wherever, whenever, however they want to, which was then covered in the first question. And then, of course, we have the personalization in our marketing campaigns. But let me first start with the hyper-personalization of the car. Thanks to the fact that we work through open ecosystems, and I think that's really where we were the first car that was running on the operating system of Google, and it was really a world premiere, because generally speaking, the automotive sector has always been a very closed environment, where each manufacturer wanted to work with the best R&D people and work with the best technicians to develop their own operating system. Today, if you see how fast the evolution goes, we don't think that we should do everything by ourselves. We need to be surrounded with the best experts in each domain. We want to build a climate-neutral car by 2030. Of course, we cannot do it on our own. We have 300,000 components in a car. Can you imagine the complexity? I mean, and it's the same for our operating system. So indeed, when I think, I don't know who called first, but at least Google was around the drawing table when the first Polestar 2 car was built, because we want to have it very seamlessly but very intuitively. Mm-hmm. And the biggest advantage is that actually it's really your hyper-personalized car, because when I step into the car, it will play my favorite Spotify playlist. It will go to my agenda. I don't need to start ticking in the navigation. No, when I came here, the car already knew, of course, that I was coming to Living Tomorrow, so he automatically took me here. And I think that's really what it's about, is how can technology help us to make our life better, faster, easier, more fun, no hassle. And that's really what we want to strive for with personalization, is really to take away the hassle of the consumers and indeed more evolving towards the ambient technology, that it becomes so intuitive, so invisible, that it's like just a continuation of yourself. So for me, that's really the summum of personalization. And of course, in service, the choice: do you want to pick up your car with your handover center of Polestar, or do you want to bring it at home? You want not to do the software updates over the air, you can come to us, or we come and pick up your car. And of course, in terms to marketing communication, we're not yet fully there, because that's then where the challenge of the CDP comes, beyond the DMP, that you really need to make sure that you pull in all the data from your different touch points into one central database and have it updated in real time. And that's then where also still the challenges of GDPR, etc. Come into, and that you need to build a trust relationship, of course, with your customers.
Mm-hmm. Yannick, as I understood, you think it's important to have a clearly defined organizational and advertising goal before using automation.
Yeah, and I think it aligns nicely what Lise and Thierry told us. Often marketeers, and today there's just in the marketing space, especially the digital one, there's thousands of, I call them shiny new toys. There's just new things that are able, every day there are better ways, faster ways, more intelligent ways to do things. And as a marketeer, it's really important that you kind of stay grounded and that you understand, really put the customer, as Lise told, in the middle and understand what do we want to achieve. Do we want to build up loyalty? Do we want to create knowledge around something specific? And then seeing, let's say, the machine learning part and all the algorithms part, those are really the enablers. If you have defined your goal, then you can use these techniques really to activate on that. And that's really important, that just things like automation and machine learning are not just things that you, because they're there, that you need to use, or that will solve things miraculously, as Thierry said, but you have to have a clear goal in mind. What do we want? Or basically, what do our customers want? Because you have to invert it, of course, and then use all of this new technology, especially in digital marketing, in retail marketing, because there's just so many touch points, so many data coming in. Basically, put a team together, you can't do it on yourself anymore. And so the scale of things is just massively bigger because of all these opportunities, all these different touch points and channels, and you need these tools to really help you to get to the target or to the goal. So I think that's really important to define what do we want, what do the customers want, match that, and then use the technology to enable to drive that forward.
Absolutely, and building up what you said, Yannick, I think that more than ever, having a clear data strategy is key. And I think I already said like for 10 years, so I've started to feel myself a little bit old now, but I think a great strategy helps you to say no to a great idea. And I hear, and often, and we have very motivated and dynamic teams with a lot of young people, and they want to try out a lot of new stuff. But if you then ask, but why? How will it help us to get where we want to go to? And then, I know, we just want to try it. No, I think we really need to stick to the overall plan and to the strategy, and then filter indeed and select the tools and the channels also that help you in achieving your goals.
To have a vision is really important.
Yeah, more than ever.
Yes.
More than ever. Or you will just lose yourself in all the new things popping up.
Yeah, and also I would say, to continuously listen to the customer and your client, because their behaviors change as well.
Yes.
Everything that happened last year, I think for all of us, it has a tremendous impact. And as a retailer or as a marketeer, you need to be able to sense that really rapidly, because you can't stay behind. So if the customer change, then it could also be that a lot of the tactics that you implement have to change. Maybe not the basic strategy, but at least the way to get there might change. And I think that's what's so interesting on being a marketeer, of course.
And
because
as Thierry said, go behind the data. And that's where you need qualitative people
And we are speaking a lot about digital or digital marketing, but you can also personalize offline marketing. We have a customer like Mediamarkt. It's a leading parapharmacy retail chain. And what they did for the last Black Friday is to use their data from online and offline to send personalized mailing that was different for each individual based on their purchasing behavior in the past. And their results were tremendous. So I think that we should think about which channel will have the most impact. Yes, we can go online. It seems so easy, but you can go also offline, have an impact with paper, soon TV that will be personalized, and so on and so on. So it's evolving, and where can we have an impact on our audience is so many channels to think about, but first think about the objectives that was mentioned. That's really key to drive sales and engagement.
Your questions are always welcome. We'll have a Q&A session after we discuss this last trend. A very important one also, this last trend, we'll discuss privacy.
Yes, I would say it's becoming more and more important, privacy and how to use the data of your customers cautiously to advertise and to not be too intrusive. And for that, if you look back in the past 5 years, it's evolved a lot with, for sure, regulatory changes with GDPR, where now you really need an explicit consent. That's clear. Another one is clearly the browsers, but also the OS are changing the game, and they are much more restrictive on the data that you can collect along the way. And so clearly the third-party cookies that we collect are an early death in the coming months. And finally, clearly the users are willing to have more privacy. They really want to know how we will use their data, or what will be their return, and that's important. When we all think of this, it's changing a lot the way we can collect data, and practically if we look at it, we have two main elements in the coming months. It's clearly the data collection that we have will not be 100% reliable than it was in the past. Like we can't send any data to Google Analytics without the consent of the users. Yes, Google is building a new solution with Google Analytics 4, but it's not yet ready, so it will come. So we'll have to live, I would say, without this 100% reliable data. But Thierry already said it about predictive modeling data will be important to be able to analyze the performance. And the second one is about strategy. The way you advertise will have to change, taking into account this. For example, the audiences of your remarketing campaigns will be much smaller because it depends on your website, but you can have 50% or more of your users will not really consent to your privacy policy. And if you look at this, so the third-party cookies are really disappearing progressively. Clearly, the first-party data are smiling, and you were mentioning it, Lise. We are going from DMP, so data management platform, to customer data platform. That's really important. Another one is about contextual targeting. I'm sure that Yannick and Lise will speak about it in a few minutes. Another one is about focusing on micro-conversions. As you will not be able to track the full consumer journey anymore, you will have to focus on maybe small successes that you have progressively, and that shows that a campaign, a message is working well, that you really succeeded to get the attention of the users by having a newsletter sign up, a full video view, or so on. And lastly, it's about maybe an idea on a channel-specific remarketing. If you are on YouTube, that you have a good video of 30 seconds, 1 minute on your product. If you have people who have seen the full video, you can create audiences and remarket them with a scenario, with another video to engage them even more, and I would say lead them even more closer to the sales and your business objective at the end. When we think about all of these elements, we really have to focus and start from a privacy first by design in all the marketing strategies that we can launch. So it's changing fast, but it's what makes it really interesting and challenging on a daily basis.
Thank you very much. I would like to have your opinions on this trend. Yannick, how do you see privacy within your company, within Mediamarkt?
Yeah, this is a broad topic, of course, and it's getting more and more important, and I'm really happy for that. Just as a user myself and not as a marketeer, I think what we saw in marketing, that it went kind of in all directions, and basically I think the most important word in this under this topic is consent. So if people allow certain things or certain data to be used, then it's okay, but they should be in control of it. So I think that's extremely important. And this will bring us in two different directions, basically, because if third-party data gets more difficult to use, we'll have to rely, first of all, more on the first-party data. This is what we, as a retailer in this case, or as a business, can collect, with consent, of course, to make the experience as personalized as possible. But then I think also second-party data, and Lise already talked about partnerships, for example, and maybe on creating an open ecosystem, but I think also second-party data, let's take the Belgian or the Flemish market, for example. It could be that we have a data partnership with one of the big publishers in Belgium. And then basically all these things are already possible today, but we have to rethink them because third-party data was there and it was quite easy to use it as a marketeer. And now we'll have to get back a bit maybe to the basics and really think about, okay, somebody's browsing on a technology website and looking for the newest games. But we as a retailer, if we can combine this data, the first-party data that we have is basically that we see that this person is browsing on an older device, maybe an older browser or an older computer, and then you can say, okay, he or she is interested in, let's say, the newest games where you need a top-end computer to run it or a gaming system, but we also know in this data partnership that basically the device on which we browse is not the same. So, and then you can start creating these connections, and that's what we'll see again, and that's what I like every time. When something in marketing, when you're used to something, but it gets taken away, not only in marketing, then creativity pops up. And that is, according to me, what will happen, or what I hope that will happen, is that marketeers are basically pushed again to be more creative on the performance marketing side, on the digital marketing side, where machine learning, where conversions, all these KPIs and buzzwords, they're, let's say, the most important, but then the creativity aspect will force marketeers back to say, okay, maybe we don't have all the possibilities we used to have. And then the good marketeers, they will find new ways to make it even more relevant to the customers. And that's basically where we're just before that step, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Thierry, what would you like to add to this about privacy?
I think as marketing, you cannot be surprised that privacy will be more. If you listen to your customer, you know for years that will be important. And as you said, as consumer yourself, you probably have been annoyed by the 100 Zalando campaigns that have followed you with shoes and shirts. And that's why Google has launched its privacy dashboard 2 years before GDPR. And so we were ready for GDPR two years before. And that's why we are putting the discussion on the table of finding new ways to do successfully marketing with respect of the user. The main thing is what is the value that you give back to the consumer about your services. It's clear that if I drive a Polestar and they use my data, but I have an advice how I can better use the recharging stations, how can I better use my car, I will be super happy to do so. I would love Mediamarkt to understand me better, because when I go into a Mediamarkt store, I'm a bit frustrated that they don't know me. I would love them to know me, that the payment would be easier, that I don't have to enter once again my ID card. So as a consumer, I want also to have less privacy in a certain way, in, as you said, a relationship where I feel that there is a benefit to that. So all consumers want to be personalized, want to have personal offers. They know that therefore they have to give something away. But is this clear enough? If you use Waze, the Belgians are very happy, and they confirm it. They are happy to give their data because they know that they receive something very valuable back, and they help a community. And so it's not only for helping yourself, but helping the community can also be valuable. So if I can help a company to be more sustainable, for example, I will be happy to share my data. In some application for healthcare, for example, I would be happy to share my data if the company can learn and help others with the same disease. But it's a total new way of thinking at your company in privacy. So the privacy-first thinking is definitely what you have to do today. You still have some time to adapt, but if you start with it not today, then you will never be ready for when it will cut down next year. But if you don't have already set up everything about precision marketing today, so if you have not used those techniques of privacy marketing, you will have a hard time to get to the next level, because it's more complicated. It's not getting back to what it was past. The people that have the best use the not really privacy okay-ish techniques will understand better how you can do predictive marketing. So get services on board. I would say call Universem. Be sure that you have a partner that understands this track, but don't see that as something that you cannot do anymore or a bad regulation. It's really for your customers. This is something that you have to do, even if the regulation wouldn't change.
Mm-hmm. Lise, what is your view on privacy?
I think it all comes down to trust, and I think it's really the key role of having a strong brand or a strong company is that you build a true relationship with your consumers. And each relationship, whether it's a love relationship or a family relationship or a friend relationship, is always based upon trust. And I think trust comes with transparency. So I think I fully support what Yannick is saying. I think it's all about also informing why you want to have specific data, especially when you have first-party data. Again, it comes down to your data strategy. I used to, when I refer back to my old days, like in the beer sector, it was like, okay, we will ask everything what is possible, and the more we know, the better. No, you have to know the right things, and indeed that you can then translate into some really clear action plans that helps your consumer. And receiving the data is really like a gift, and we really should be treated with care and really appreciate that consumers are trusting us. So it's for Polestar, we are a very purposeful driven company. Yes, of course we want to sell cars, but first we want to help to switch the society to a more sustainable mobility, and that's really our end goal. And that's why we like to build a strong community of like-minded people. So we do not suffer of people giving us their data because, they are like-minded. And I think that's, of course, completely different if you work for a media market. We do not to sell our cars to everybody. We look for a clear tribe and a clear community of like-minded people that want to drive the change, and that's why we are also much focusing on that first-party data. It's always good if it's also linked to the product, because we have Polestar ID, like you have an Apple ID, or so if you want to benefit from the car in all its aspects, you sign into your car with your Google ID. So, and okay, people, some consumers are sometimes really worried then, and but can the car then be hacked, and can then the car start driving me to somewhere I do not want to go to? Of course not. So it remains, like to your dairy and stuff like that. But it's funny how consumers think, because then it means that they don't have fully trust in the technology, and then you need to explain it. Why it can be good for them and why they can benefit from it. Yeah. So it all starts with good information, good communication, and transparency, I think.
Thank you.
That's a common objective, to help the consumer trust technology as such, to be demanding and to know the risks, but also to trust it. Because some people are saying no just because they are afraid, although they would love to have the benefits. And that's really a pity. And that starts to be a bigger group. And I think that's the main message of Homo Digitalis, is be self-aware of technology, don't be naive, have a good password, but use the benefits of this technology. Your car will work better, and your retailer will service you better if you trust technology. And then you trust the company behind it, which is another thing. Absolutely. First of all, it's the technology and then the company. Yeah.
I think it's basically somewhat the same for the three of us, whether it's electronics retail or a car or the platform, it's completely different. But at Mediamarkt, we say it's about enriching people's life with limitless possibilities. And the limitless possibilities is everything which you can do with the technology. Yeah. So the car can be a different object in my hands or in your hands. It's the same technology, but it will enable us to do so. It's the same with the products that we sell, but it's also with the technologies that Google has, for example. So it's nice to see that there is a link, but basically the technology is really enabling so many people in so many different directions. And we have to be aware and try to understand that it's limitless, and we have to adapt as marketeers as well, and especially in retail.
Shows that only 10 years ago, those three companies would be completely separate companies.
Yeah.
Well,
And now we are really interrelated as being customer partners, suppliers, and that's the world of today. Nobody can do what every company is doing on their own. Google is nothing with a partner, and I think you're not.
And it's only the beginning. When 5G will kick in. I mean, already today, you can say if your car is connected with the Google Home, like turn on the lights, for example. Yeah, and it's only the very beginning of it. And so it's as a marketeer, I think so exciting
Good times.
Yeah, absolutely. The best is yet to come.
Sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you very much for your insights on all of these trends to stay to stay optimistic about the future and be trustful is something that I absolutely remember. And I'm going to check what the viewers have to ask to all of you, because of course there is a Q&A session, and people who have been following this panel are connected with us today and have questions for this panel and also for you, Hubert. The first question we have is: imagine you would do retail marketing tomorrow in 5 years. What would be the biggest challenge in retail we would be discussing now? I don't know who would like to answer that question.
What we discussed today, it's about technology being optimistic about the future, but at the end, it's about how can we stay human to in the discussions, in the engagement, in the way we interact with the consumers. And I think it will be still a challenge in the future to continue to innovate, to be creative enough to have this again. And we were thinking a lot about how to, I would say, have a purpose, have a vision as a brand. And I think it will stay and will be even more important in 5 years again to be more clear on what you stand out as a brand, as a retailer. You can't be everybody. You need to be a retailer with a certain audience that you believe and that you want to target, and that all your acts from the guys in your shops to the online shops will have to go in the same directions.
I think for the Belgian retailers, is taking back leadership. We used to be very innovative in Belgium. If you remind well, the bank contact card was introduced in Belgium far before the Netherlands, for example. You could shop and have gas oil with a bank contact card in Belgium, where it was nowhere possible in the Netherlands. Today, if you look at the retail ecosystem in Belgium compared to the Netherlands is definitely more advanced. And don't watch to China, because then it's completely another type of game. So not only catching up, that will not be enough. I think finding the way to lead, and this opportunity, I think, is this ambient computing, machine learning, to get a better use of that with the respect of privacy, that we truly understand, where, for example, Chinese companies have more difficulties to understand that concept, and so we have an USP. Let's use privacy and digital as USP, and then I think we can be back in the leading position.
But I liked your comparison as well, Thierry, a lot with the grocery shop, because I really hope that if technology is used for the better, that it will also have a positive impact on the retail experience. Why are so many retailers now suffering? Because they aren't adding any value compared to what you can do online. So I think today, as a retailer, you really should question yourself, okay, how can it reinforce each other? And what are then the specifics why you would go to a physical shop, and why you would go to your online shop? And I think it always starts with the effort that the customer has to pay for it, meaning his time, the fact that he needs to go from A to B. Is it worthwhile? And is there a return on investment between brackets for that consumer? So I think if the retailers today already start to question that topic, I think in 5 years' time, it can only be good news, and really to increase the customer centricity and really put the next level and the next layer in terms of customer experience to make sure that there is still room for physical spaces. Because honestly, I find it really sad if you see in the big cities now how many entrepreneurs that are going bankrupt because they are really suffering from, especially the Netherlands, that really are really good in e-commerce and so on. So I follow you, Thierry. I think leadership and innovative thinking and really be disruptive a little bit, starting from that consumer to what he really needs is really urgent. And not continue as we always did post-COVID, hopefully.
Yes.
Because then they will fail.
Yannick?
I would love to look 5 years in the future from now, because I have the feeling that innovation is like increasing its speed constantly. So things are going always quicker and quicker. So 5 years, if we look 5 years back, it won't be the same stretch to 5 years towards the future. That's something that we already know. So there are so many new technologies that will have, without a doubt, a huge impact on our life. Talking about blockchain, for example, if you put
we already use blockchain in our cars to have a trustful sourcing of our cobalt in our batteries, but it's important.
Which make total sense. So is this maybe other use cases on retail in our sector, for example, could be. But also we started recently to experiment with live stream shopping. Really shopping via live stream. And this is something where we say from a Belgian perspective, let's see, we don't know. But if you look at China, there you see that it's a multi-billion dollar thing that's already existing with not salespeople selling things, but then people that are not even related to the store that sells products for your store via specific platforms. It's all mobile, it's all online, it's all instantaneous.
But then indeed it needs to be a different experience, because I think the worst thing you can do, and we have seen it during the Brussels Motor Show, there was no physical event, and so many brands that just created a virtual showroom, but to do what then? To look from the car as you are. I mean, and that's then always the danger. You really need to start from a blank sheet and reinvent it, not just copy it. And that's where leadership is so important.
I don't think that innovation is accelerating. It's just a perception, because in your middle something. If you look at electric cars, for example, Tesla is busy so long time. But now it's panic, as innovation was faster. We went as a mobile-first company in 2010, and only in 2015-16, mobile was really big business. We started to be an AI-first company in 2016. It's not only now that you see the device coming up. So you have 20 years of trying things, and the technology is there, but it's not mature. Then at a certain moment you say, you go on AI first, for example, and then 5 years later it's really popping up. But most of the time it's 25 years old what's popping up. And I think the difficulty is to stay away from these hypes, short-term hype. Think about your business model, think what's happening, and then I think you can afford experimenting. That's also very important. It's not stopping all experiments. You have to lose some money on experimenting, otherwise you will miss interesting things.
We have a second question from our audience. The first-party data are gaining importance. What is your main recommendation on this?
That you have more data than you think. It's unbelievable how much data every single company has, but they don't look at. Look at the way that they pay invoices, look at when they're just visiting a website, when they enter a shop and then just go out. It's amazing how many data that a company has that they don't look at. So you are richer than you think.
Yeah, and I think the mindset, the fact that it's a precious gift, so you have to handle it with care. I think if we already start with that mindset, that maybe from a marketing point of view, agencies, the team might look completely different to it and not take it for granted any longer. And then secondly, I think start from your own strengths. How can you inspire? I watched a couple of weeks ago Seth Godin's speech during the UBA Trends Day. I mean, make sure that you're worth telling a story. And I think that's what it's all about. It's the power of your brand, it's the power of your story, and you need to embark people into your long-term vision. And then they will be more than happy because they want to be part of something bigger.
Yeah.
And then it will come automatically, I think. So it's really depending on the good work we all do that people will still be wanting to give us their data.
Another question that comes in, Thierry said, in the 20s, predictive marketing is increasing. Does this mean that advertising on radio and TV will disappear?
So the answer is yes. The question is how fast.
That's a bold statement.
Let's be clear. The advertising on a television screen will not disappear, but the linear television will disappear, and the television advertising is in fact already dead today. Have you watched recently a full evening on one television channel? So you go to this and you watch, but you don't zap anything. And so you really watch the whole evening. At the end of the evening, you hate the brands that were advertising because you have been interrupted like 4 times in a film, and they show you 4 times the same ads, so that's dead. And that's dead today. Radio advertising is definitely not dead in Belgium, but will evolve to podcasting advertising, and linear television will evolve to video. So it depends how you define the word television. If it's on a television screen, then it's definitely the future. If it's on linear television, it's dead today, and radio is evolving. Or you have super deal and you receive everything for free, which is fine, but you annoy your customers. So it's farther than privacy. With some television advertising today, you're really annoying the people that are watching the television, or you advertise for some people that will not be in their sofa at the moment that you broadcast it. So I will be a bit blunt on that one, but most of the time, traditional advertising is dead, but for example, on out of door, it can perfectly be digital advertising out of door, and that's brilliant. You see sometimes today billboards outside that, first of all, are adaptive, and secondly, have some image moving into that. That's definitely the future. And so you have to consider the digital first strategy and then see what's happening, and also use some existing basis like a television screen. And paperwork can work, but you have to use it very wisely and to have a digital strategy around it. There is a case in UK where a brand for telco was advertising for a free phone, but they hadn't the digital strategy. They advertised on the paperwork with a free phone. And then the people went online to search for the free phone, but the strategy was not clear on that point, so the competition took all the people interested in the free phone were captured online by the competitors. So that's I think the proof of the pudding that you cannot do offline strategy before to have your online strategy completely right. And I see too many offline advertising campaigns that are not what we call doubled online first. And agencies are crying for that. They say, we don't know what they will do online, or we don't know what they will do offline. That's something that you have to fix as first.
Yes.
I think about the TV, you need to think about the context. Where the users will see your ad. If you, for example, you can now target on YouTube TV screen, so that you know that your ad, you should adapt it because it's a large screen, not a small one on your mobile device. And think about that so that the message that you will send will be relevant on the audience that you are targeting. And I think that's the future of targeting online and on, I would say, hybrid devices.
And I would maybe like Mike to give a little bit of counterweight, because is it completely dead? I would say no. As responsible for a brand who uses both above-the-line advertising and purely digital advertising, of course we see a shift happening. Will we probably see the end of it as marketeers? Yes, but we're definitely not there yet. So you talked about this 20-year period before. So we can't be too quick because, of course, reach has still an impact. And if we look at the local scale in Belgium, we have strong media brands, whether it's on radio or television, or we have strong media brands, and maybe even stronger than in some of the other countries, and also a very rich history. And there's also a lot of things where one can reinforce the other. So as a marketeer, I would also always suggest what is the target audience, what is the product, what do you want to achieve, and then often it's a mix of both, because you have a customer journey, and sometimes it's about awareness, sometimes it's pure on performance or on consideration.
Yeah, I fully agree.
And it's always a mix depending of the situation, and I'm pretty convinced that it will stay another couple of years at least like that, especially in this local Belgian environment.
Yeah, and especially looking then to Polestar, like 1.5 years ago, nobody knew Polestar. So we are on our journey, of course, but our focus is still pretty much, of course, on building the brand awareness and driving the consideration. And it's more probably depending on formats and in function of your objective. You know, we have a story to tell. We have such a rich story to tell. We want that people see the car, of course. So yeah, that influences, of course, heavily also your media strategy. So yeah, for the moment, I would say it's still an end-to-end story. Will it change? Definitely, and will we be able to be more snipers as well using traditional media? Of course, yes, and that I think is also again a great opportunity.
So let's take an appointment now, and we talk to each other in 3 years, and you watch to yourself today, and you would have said, well, was that really the best? It depends how much you pay and how you use it. To be clear, if you only use 1 or 2 ads on an evening, then you're a better space. And if you only pay a portion of what they say they claim at audience because they don't watch every day, that's fine. But it's digital first, and then you use the additional audience. And I obviously say it in a provocative way because so many people are still doing it as if television hadn't changed. Even television is saying we are now pushing people to streams and to platforms because they want to do payment for content, which is fine. But then you have to be, and they want to sponsor the transition, which is also fine. So I'm definitely, I mentioned some traditional brands of media on my slides because I think on digital we are partners and we can advertise on Nieuwsblad or on our VTM platforms. It's fine, but it's just to be really challenging yourself on reflex that our marketeers had and also media agencies are sometimes still have.
I want to thank each and every one of you for your insights, and I also want to thank our viewers for your questions. If your questions are unanswered at this point, make sure to contact Universem as they will guide you with their expertise. As we come to an end of this panel, I would like to ask each and every one of our members one main idea to remember or to take away. Maybe Yannick?
A lot of good ideas have been presented, I think, but in this case I wanted to go back to the basics, and that's basically what I think we all agree 100% on it, and that's to put your customer in the middle in whatever you do. And I think a lot of brands, and especially in retail, maybe went away on that in the last, let's say, maybe couple of years, not to talk about decades, but really all these new tools, all these new possibilities that we have as a good marketeer should only help you to guide you really to the customer again, put it in the middle, and then really see what are their needs, how can we help them, how can we be an assistant to them, of course, to make everything as seamless as possible, whether it's cars, whether it's technology, whether it's devices that we sell. So it's basically probably the most difficult to really wrap your head around, but it should be the guiding light, or I wouldn't say Polestar, but Northern Light, maybe. Just as a retailer, as a marketeer, never forget who you're doing it for out of sight. Otherwise, you will get sidetracked and you will lose relevancy, and that's not a good idea.
Lise, do you have one main idea to remember?
I think, especially looking to the retail marketing, it's digital first, definitely, but human always. And that's really where we want to make the difference also with Polestar when it comes to customer experience, that it's really wherever, whenever, and however the customer wants it. And that's really forcing us to also put that consumer in the middle of the table and really start from their shopper and owner journey, understand the micro moments in their journey, and look on how can we take away those barriers and how can we give a positive answer to it. Excel, they're looking for customer delight actually, and Yeah, I think that's for me really it's always in the end human that makes the difference. The quality of the quality of people you have in your team, the quality of your partners, quality of your product, and digital again is the enabler to go faster, to go harder, to go better, but it's not the goal in itself.
Hubert, what is your main idea?
I fully agree with what you said. I would say we had a very optimistic view on the future, and I think we want to be, and we can succeed in digital and targeting the users. But let's start today. I think is the message. Let's start today, because otherwise you are losing every day. You are losing time to be more accurate, to be more engaged with your consumers who are willing to do with your brand. So that's my message for today.
Thank you.
I don't think it's optimistic, I think it's possibilistic. It's saying, look at what's possible with those new technologies. And I really urge Belgian companies to think digital first and to use those technologies. And don't forget that the world has really changed in 2021 due to this long-term evolution of digital revolution, but also the pandemic that has really changed things. So don't use historical data longer than 4 months ago, because everything that is 1 year ago is useless. And look at the future. Even if you hesitate between the profitability of something digital today, don't forget that in the future it will be more digital. So if you invest on two risks, an offline and an online, in online you invest in the future, in offline you invest in the past. So if you think about opening a new shop, think digital first. This is a marketing investment as another. Look at the cost of this thing. Too many times a shop is seen as an investment and a marketing cost as being a variable. It's not true. There are two costs for the company, and maybe you should invest this in digital experience to improve digital experience for all your shops instead of investing in one shop more.
I would like to thank our panel for today, for their vision, for sharing their advice with us. Hubert de Cartier, Partner and Project Manager from Universem. Lise Eeckman, Managing Director, Polestar Belgium. Yannick de Bièvre, Marketing Director, Benelux, Mediamarkt Saturn. And of course, Thierry Geerts, Country Director from Google. Thank you to our viewers for your questions, for your participation. You can watch the replay if interested. And remember, Universem will be back next year with a second Retail Marketing Tomorrow. If interested, you can subscribe to SEO Next Gen in September, and you can also check out the webinars Universem is organizing. Check the blog, social media, and of course, universem.com. Thank you for joining. Have a beautiful afternoon. Till next time.